After watching this video, you will never see Japan the same way again. The country the world thinks it knows has a completely different face, one that has been locked away in classified archives, buried beneath ocean floors, and burned in the fires of a desperate government, trying to erase its own history. Thousands of classified documents, sealed for decades, a government that ordered its own archives burned before the enemy could arrive. What was Japan trying to hide? Today, we open 7 doors that were never meant to be opened. Number 7. The Yanagani Monument, a civilization sleeping beneath the sea. In 1986, off the coast of Yanagani Island, Okinawa, a dive instructor named Kiichiro Aratake descended to 25 meters below the surface. What he found stopped him cold: massive stone terraces, perfectly vertical walls, and right-angled steps carved into the seabed, structures that nature alone could not have produced. Professor Masaaki Kimura of the University of the Ryukyus spent over 2 decades studying the formation. His conclusion: the Yanagani Monument is most likely a man-made structure constructed at least 5,000 years ago, predating the pyramids of Egypt. Some researchers believe it was built when sea levels were dramatically lower, perhaps 10,000 years ago, placing it among the oldest constructed sites on Earth. The Japanese government has declined to fund official research into the structure, whatever answer those stones might give. Someone has decided the world is not ready to hear it. Number 6. Unit 731, the darkest secret in human history. On the outskirts of Harbin, Manchuria, between 1936 and 1945, a unit of the Imperial Japanese Army operated under cover of secrecy, so absolute that most Japanese citizens had no knowledge of its existence. Officially designated a water purification unit, Unit 731 was in reality a biological warfare research program that conducted live experiments on human beings under the command of Lieutenant General Shiro Ishii. The unit subjected prisoners Chinese, Korean, Russian, and other nationalities to plague bacteria, cholera, frostbite experiments, and vivisection. The victims were referred to as maruta, the Japanese word for logs. They were not considered human beings. Estimates of the total death toll range from 3,000 to 10,000. When the war ended, the leaders of Unit 731 were never tried at the Tokyo War Crimes Tribunal. In exchange for handing over their biological warfare data to the United States, they received full immunity. This secret deal remained classified for decades and only came to light through declassified documents released in the 1980s. The survivors are still waiting for justice. Number 5. Aokigahara, the Forbidden Forest at the foot of Fuji. At the northwestern base of Mount Fuji lies a forest of 35 square kilometers. The Japanese call it Jukai, the Sea of Trees. It is one of the most visually striking places in all of Japan. It is also one of the most deeply forbidden. Beneath the forest floor runs an extensive network of lava caves. The iron content in the volcanic rock disrupts compass readings. The dense canopy blocks GPS signals. Those who enter deeply enough lose all sense of direction. The forest has drawn individuals seeking to end their lives for decades, and the annual police search operations have become a grim routine. But the forest holds older secrets. Historical records from the Edo and Meiji period suggest that during times of severe famine, impoverished families sometimes led elderly relatives or young children into these woods and left them there. This practice, known as yubasut, is acknowledged in Japanese folklore, but rarely discussed in official historical accounts. There are sections of Aokigahara that have never been fully searched. Number 4. The Tango Kingdom, the dynasty erased from the map. Japan's official history is built around the rise of the Yamato court and its unification of the Japanese archipelago, but archaeological findings and ancient records discovered in the Tango region of present-day Kyoto Prefecture tell a different story. Documents preserved in local shrines, believed to be variant manuscripts of the Tango no Kuni Fudoki, and ancient regional chronicle contain references to independent royal lineages that never appear in the Kojiki or Nihon Shoki, Japan's 2 oldest official historical texts. Japanese historians have long acknowledged that the compilation of these texts under Yamato authority involved the systematic suppression and rewriting of local histories. The evidence from Tango suggests that before or alongside the Yamato court, other power structures and dynastic lines existed across the Japanese islands, structures that were deliberately erased. The names of kingdoms that once ruled this land have been forgotten for over 1,000 years. Number 3. The emperor's secret documents that should not exist. One of the most sensitive questions in modern Japanese historiography is this: did Emperor Hirohito know about and authorize the biological warfare operations of Unit 731 and other war crimes? In 1989, historian Yoshimi Yoshiaki discovered documents in the library of Japan's defense agency that appeared to contain imperial authorization for the use of chemical and biological weapons in China. The findings were reported by the Asahi Shimbun and sent a shockwave through Japanese society. The Japanese government has consistently maintained that the emperor had no direct involvement in war crimes. However, declassified documents held in the United States National Archives do not exclude the possibility that the imperial household was aware of the full scope of wartime operations. The complete truth has never been officially disclosed. What was decided in those inner chambers remains, to this day, partially sealed. Number 2. Yamashita's gold, the treasure that moved a nation. In the final months of World War II, General Tomoyuki Yamashita, the Tiger of Malaya, is said to have overseen the concealment of an enormous hoard of looted treasure in the mountains of Luzon Island in the Philippines. Gold bars, jewels, and currency plundered from central banks across Asia. This is Yamashita's gold. What elevates this beyond legend is what happened in 1971. A Filipino man named Rogelio Roxas claimed to have discovered a golden Buddha statue and a large cache of gold bars. He was promptly arrested by agents of President Ferdinand Marcos, and the items were seized by the state. Roxas filed suit. In 1996, a Hawaiian court ruled that the Marcos estate owed Roxas over $40 billion in damages. It was the first legal ruling to implicitly recognize the possible existence of Yamashita's gold as fact. How much remains buried in those mountains? No one knows. Expeditions are still being mounted today. Number 1. The coup that almost stopped the surrender, Japan's most forbidden secret. August 14, 1945. Emperor Hirohito had made his decision. Japan would surrender. A recording was made of the imperial announcement, to be broadcast to the nation the following day. What followed that night is one of the most suppressed episodes in modern Japanese history. A group of Imperial Army officers, led by Major Kenji Hatanaka, refused to accept the surrender. They launched a coup attempt, storming the Imperial Palace, taking the commander of the Imperial Guard prisoner, and searching desperately for the recording that would end the war. Their plan was to destroy the recording, continue the resistance, and prevent the broadcast. The coup failed. The officers took their own lives. The recording survived. On August 15, 1945 at noon, the voice of the emperor was heard across the Japanese islands. For the first time, this event, known as the Kyuho incident, was largely absent from Japanese school textbooks for decades, but the silence surrounding it points to something deeper. In the final days of the war, Japan's military establishment was willing to act against the emperor himself, rather than accept defeat. And in the days immediately following the surrender, the government issued orders to burn vast quantities of classified documents, evidence of war crimes, secret operations, and biological warfare records. For days, smoke rose over Tokyo. Historians estimate that tens of thousands of documents that could have rewritten the historical record were destroyed in those fires. What we know about Japan's wartime history may be only a fraction of what actually occurred. Of the 7 truths presented today, which one has stayed with you most deeply? The distance between the history we were taught and the history that actually happened. Understanding that gap is what it means to see the world as it truly is. Leave your thoughts in the comments below, and if you have not yet subscribed, there has never been a better moment. The next video goes even deeper. The seals have not all been broken yet.